So you want me to undo this? To undo you? Oh, sorry about this, but I refuse to do that? Yeah, I refuse. And I know that you'll hate me for this. But even so, nobody ever asked to be born, you know. It's time to wake up now, Nikki.
Breathing was currently a bit difficult. At least that's what Seth thought when he first opened his eyes. He was gasping a bit, taking his first breaths. Currently, he was positioned to gaze out the window at the busy street below. His elbows were resting on the cushion of a window bench, one of his hands supporting his chin. He was in an apartment of sorts. The walls were wide and it was empty except for the bare minimal furniture. He stared at the world outside, his brows furrowed. Why? Why? This isn't fair, you know, he thought to himself. After a bit more of grumbling to himself, he heard the soft, barely audible thump of a book being closed. Even though it wasn't loud, Seth was still startled enough to jump a bit. He turned to see Goldie sitting on the couch close to the window seat that he was at. Goldie was watching him with slight apprehension, seeming a bit worried. Seth turned his body to her, letting his elbows lay back on the windowsill, and openly stared back at her for a while, taking in her appearance. Dark gray turtleneck, black leggings, light gray pencil skirt. A thought occurred to him that made him burst out laughing with glee. He pointed at her. Oh my god, you're stuck with me! Goldie rolled her eyes at his randomness. She was again annoyed by his questionable behavior, but this time she felt a bit relieved that he was okay as well. A faint smile curled onto her lips. Well, hello to you too. Glad for it, you punk. She opened her book again to a random page and continued reading from there. A comfortable silence settled over them for a while. Seth looked back outside a bit calmer now that he knew that he wasn't alone. Alone in his first world. It wasn't long before the silence started to disturb him, though. He stood and stretched, causing Goldie to look up at him again. Well, I'ma go and check on Queenie, he animatedly sang, eager to check out on the little runt. Goldie chuckled a bit. Oh, but you barely just woke up, you know. She mumbled, making Seth grumble a bit. I don't care. I just want out, he growled. She sighed at his impatience, tapping the tips of her index finger onto the edge of the book on her lap. Did something happen over there? She quietly asked. Seth cocked his head to the side as he closed his eyes and thought a bit. Oh, so she went through with it, huh? He opened his eyes and looked back at her, seeming a bit more happier than a few seconds ago. Well, you know those little monsters that I made her rescue? Goldie quirked her eyebrow, a small smile beginning to form again as she remembered the ridiculous situation that Seth stuck their newest friend into again. Oh, the little demon babies? Goldie questioned, causing Seth to snort. They both knew exactly what he was talking about. But he humored her anyways. Yeah, she just adopted him. She blinked a bit. Well, she was definitely surprised at that. Ray wasn't exactly the most welcoming type, but knowing how Sev usually liked to meddle into things, it wasn't hard to believe that he somehow created situations where she was forced into her current role anyways. Her eyes went back into the pages of her book. Okay then, have fun. She paused as she felt a presence next to her. When she looked over, she saw Sev's hand raised up to her. She raised a brow at noticing this. Sev was sitting next to the couch now in a similar position that he was in before, offering her his hand. He looked up at her with sweet, hopeful eyes that somehow he was able to express through all that sarcastic humor he always seemed to admit, even without trying. You coming? It'd be more fun if two of us bugged her instead of just one, he asked her. Somehow, Goldie can hear the small plead mixed in. Though the two of them may have been in existence for less than an hour, he's known Gold for what seemed like an eternity when they were still back in that darkness. She hummed for a second as she thought, her eyes roaming around at the bleak surroundings. Though it'd be fun to go, she knew that she couldn't. No, I'll stay here a bit. It'd be good for at least one of us to check this place out, huh? Gold murmured, avoiding eye contact. Sev huffed a bit, though he didn't like her decision. He supposed that she needed her space. He grinned at her before taking her hand and giving the back of it a light, teasing kiss. Well, until I return, madam.
Do refrain yourself from missing the great meat too much,
he boasted a bit mockingly. Goldie tisked. She slipped her hand away from him and flicked his forehead, a bit peeved. Sev yelped a bit and gave her a mock, wounded look. Please do not mock the cinnamon roll. He's a sweet character, she scolded at him. Sev simply gave another bellyful laugh before shaking his head. He waved at her. See ya, Golds. His form glitched before blipping out of existence. Goldie nodded in acknowledgement to the empty air, sighing as she skimmed her eyes over the images of her book. After a moment of therapy and complete silence, she started to quietly hum to herself. Sev chuckled as he blipped into existence outside the apartment door. The day's experience was as amusing as ever. Rick kept making increasingly funny faces as she tried to control the chaos that comes from adopting tiny skeleton monsters was a sight that he'll never forget. He was in a good mood. Honey, I'm home! Sev called out jokingly as he busted into the apartment making jazz hands. It was a horrible attempt at making a grand entrance, but he didn't care at the moment. Hey Goldie, guess what? His voice died out when he saw the state of the apartment. What little was in there was laid in ruins. He whistled at the chaos, laughing a bit through his lips. Damn, Golds, he mumbled as he tiptoed over and around the wreckage. There was barely any room to move without risking impaling himself with shards and pieces from the broken objects, and he thought he was handling it badly. Not even a day had passed before she had her breakdown. He found Goldie in a room, the room he woke up in. She was leaning against the window frame, looking outside into the night with blank eyes, watching the city lights. Her knees were up to her chest, and in her crossed arms was the book she had before. It seemed to be the only thing that was left in one piece. Sev gave a strained, amused sigh as he watched her for a bit. He assumed that she already got her chance to have her breakdown while he was gone. Well, it was obvious. Being thrown into another world did have its downsides. The silence was pretty thick between them. Goldie didn't want to talk. She had closed her eyes and faced farther away from Sev once she was aware of his presence. She was, in simple terms, embarrassed that he had caught sight of the aftermath of her tantrum before she had a chance of cleaning up, but still. Welcome back. Sev chuckled a bit as he heard her greeting before stretching and letting his real form glitch into view, replacing his human form. In this form, he could tower over almost anybody, so he had no problem in scooping Goldie into his cartoonishly large hands and taking over her seat. He cradled her small form to him. He wanted to offer words of comfort to her, yet comforting words never appeared. He was made to be a nuisance, the annoying character, not the character that looked out for the others. That was Goldie's job. That was her character, at least he thinks so. Though this was his first time being remade into another world, Gold had had countless of other past lives under her belt. And since he couldn't offer comfort, instead he offered rest. Hey Golds, let's get some sleep. Golds had enough motivation in her to let out a huff of amusement. This isn't the right way people sleep, you know. Normal people sleep in beds. Golds mumbled as she buried her face into his chest. They were only in this world for a day and already she was sick of seeing it. Sev let out a quiet laugh. You broke the bed, you dumbass. He mumbled tiredly, yet still attempted to put on a light teasing tone to his voice. Goldie only hummed and closed her eyes. Hello! And, well, first things first, thank you for listening to this awkward readout, audio drama, whatever it's called. For those of you who have accidentally stumbled upon this without knowing what the heck is going on, well, sorry for the confusion. And those of you guys who came here from the last chapter of my Biddy story, well, here you go, the surprise, yay! It's a auditory version of Sev's and Goldie's part. Now you guys, well, blah 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 blah. Well, now you guys know more or less how Sev and Goldie are like. And sorry for the bad acting. This was my first time doing anything like this, and I now have a huge respect for the creepypasta narrators. This was really hard for me, especially with all the screw-ups I kept repeating over and over again. But yeah, anyways, this in a way is also, I guess, a sort of introduction to the world I created. There isn't really a solid plot. It's just adventures and tales that happens in it. Some characters you'll see more than others. This, for me, is gonna be a pain to organize. But what can you do? Blah 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 blah. I should probably explain some of this stuff, huh? Well, Sev and Goldie are my characters. They're self-aware, meaning that they know that they're characters, yet they can't really do anything about it. And since they're aware, that means that they're also aware of the changes that happens around them. So they're kind of breaking the fourth wall. Sorta. You know, when you have a character, you make a story for them. It's like a life for them. You write out their life. But sometimes you're not satisfied with what you write for them, and you scrap it and make a new one. Essentially making a new life for them. That's practically what just happened to these two. Though Sev had only one previously written life, while Goldie has had countless of lives. So far, Goldie is human. The only thing remarkable about her is that she had all her memories from her past life. All of them. Past happinesses, past tragedies, I can't speak. Past tragedies, past experiences, and knowledge. But she's inside a new body because it's a new life. In a way, you can think of it sort of as shoving knowledge into a person. Though she remembers certain skills, she would have to get her new body used to it if she wants to use a physical skill and her body isn't strong enough, or I don't know, has enough muscle memory for it. She's gonna have to train her body to get up to the level she wants to be. If it's a mental skill, she's gonna need refreshers and references, and also some practice so that way she can, get up to that skill level she was before. Now, Sev, on the other hand, if you haven't figured this out yet, is not human. He has his powers from his past life, and he also has the ability of traveling to other worlds I made, as in other stories. But he's only able to travel to them if he's aware of them. And lastly, he has this sort of power that lets him more or less know what the creator plans to do or what they are thinking, creator being me. It's not a sure power. Sometimes he gets random emotions for other characters or images or inklings and ideas of what's in store for them. At times he will get extremely strong urges to go somewhere or do a certain action. This would explain how he's hard to surprise, and also how he seems to have a sort of god mode put into him without being able to change his environment by using his powers. Since Goldie used to have this weird power, both of them have a bit of knowledge of some of the things I'm into, which would explain the papyrus reference. Undertale fans know what I'm talking about. Though, now that they were remade into this new world, Goldie has lost that power, so only Sev has it now. And, well, I think that's all I can think of explaining at this moment. If you're that random stranger that stumbled onto this video by accident and you're still here, then kudos to you! You're one curious person. Anyways, thank you again for listening to this disaster. Also, could somebody please tell me what the heck this category is called? Audio drama, audio series? I know it's not audio biography. At least I think it's not. I've been trying to figure out the proper name for these types of audio thingies for weeks now. Does anybody know the general term? Well, that's it for now. Until next time, guys. Bye!